Welcome, digital golfers. Thanks for joining us for this panel discussion. Today we are talking about hole design. Now, there's lots of videos on YouTube that will teach you how to design a golf course, but I've always wanted to hear from some of the top players in the community what they look for in a golf hole. What is challenging to them, and what may be too easy? What kind of holes do they enjoy, and what pisses them off in a golf hole? Today I'm joined by three well-known virtual golfers in our community, starting with Jimmy Boredom. Jimmy is a Platinum Tour player on TGC Tours and a streamer, and he's currently running the All-Shot All-Stars tournament in Discord. Welcome, Jimmy. How's the tournament going?
Yeah, it's going good. We're deep into round 2. People are getting their matches done on time, so it's going nice and smooth.
All
Some
right.
crazy matchups developing.
Yeah? Any predictions on who might win the tournament?
So anything can happen in all shots. It's too tough to say, honestly.
Any wishful thinking?
Hopefully my team pulls it out from the losers bracket, though.
Yeah.
Don't ask how we got there. I don't know. It must have been some sort of clerical error.
Uh-oh. Blame the game.
Yeah, always.
We also have Mr. Progressive Golf. Kyle is in here, and Kyle is a real-life golf professional and a streamer on Twitch. Welcome, Kyle. Now, you do both virtual golf and real-life golf stuff on your channel, right?
Yeah, we teach IRL golf swings and stuff through viewer-submitted videos on stream, and we play, virtual golf. I don't know about as good as these guys, but
I play
virtual
on TGC
golf.
Tours as well?
Yeah.
What tour do you play?
I do. Currently in CCF.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's one higher than I'm in CCH right now. And lastly, we have What About Amiobi? Wayne is live several days a week, and he's one of the community's respected course critics. Always willing to give feedback on your courses, whether you're an established designer or a beginner. He streams on Twitch, and he has a fast-growing YouTube channel. Wayne, welcome.
Thanks, buddy. It can't be that fast-growing. I didn't get an invitation into Jimmy's tournament.
Oh?
It was open signups, so.
No, somebody told me it was invitational.
No, it was open signups. First 64 that got in. We were actually looking for a final team, so.
Just busting your balls.
Hey, we'll get you in next time for sure.
Cool.
But you just passed 400 followers, right? Or
on YouTube, yeah. I've rocketed up to the stratospheric heights of 400 subscribers. So,
well, that's more than I.
It's only a matter of time before I go full time.
Yeah. Before you get that platinum YouTube thing to have in your wall.
Having fun with it, enjoying the community. Yeah, it's good times. And yeah, I'm the grumpy old man, Mayday. So salty Canadian grumpy old man, they both work.
I see here that Midnight Fox is also a pro golfer from about 11 p.m. to 5:45 a.m. nightly. Wow, How do you do that? Midnight?
That's probably when he sleeps.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has to wake up, right?
Yeah.
So what we'll do today is we are going to play several holes on different courses, and in the meantime, we're going to discuss strategy on the holes that lie in front of us. But the conversation is open, so anything that pops up in chat, we'll respond to. We'll be starting on Barton Hills, a course by B101 Design, and I gathered from what I found on the internet that this was pretty difficult. Have you played it, guys?
I
have as well. I see
like
B101. I immediately get nervous.
Yeah, I've definitely played some B101s.
So first thing that I saw here is that it only got 3 stars. Maybe that's because it's so difficult.
Yeah, probably.
I played the first round here. Lost Souls found it very hard. Oh, wow. Hemo's rating with almost 60 others. Thanks for the raid, Hemo. That's a huge raid.
Emo with the hype.
Yeah. Arsface77, welcome on in. Hemo, welcome. Chris Raby, welcome. Progressive Golf. Oh, you were already here.
Hi.
I'm just name dropping right now. Okay, let's start, guys. Let's play some actual golf. Hey, Colby's in here. Hello. Hello. Welcome in, everyone. We're going to play golf and talk about hole design for anyone who has missed my introduction there. And we're playing B101's course, and there's a reason for that, because I want to give you the opportunity, and obviously you all watch people play their tour rounds and stuff, but I wanted to have the opportunity to go and ask a guy like Jimmy, who plays in Platinum, what he does when he looks at a hole in front of him, a golf hole in front of him. So what math does he do? How does he approach every shot? So Jimmy, talk us through what you do. I'm just gonna smash my driver and skip forward a little bit. Great, nice tee shot.
A lot of crying is involved typically on the Platinum courses.
Big size.
Yeah, a lot of, before I even get to the math, there's typically a just, here we go.
Yep. Mental preparation.
Yeah. So, but for math, I mean, I typically, off the tee, I'm just trying to get it in the fairway. I don't really focus a whole lot on the math when it comes to those shots. But for the approach shots, that's where things start to get a little bit more calculated for sure. But off the tee, it's just find a safe place at all costs.
Yeah. Do you look at the line to the green for your second shot, or is it mainly just hit the fairway and see from there?
I definitely look now. There was when I started this game, I definitely burned myself a lot where I would just step up and hit it and then be like, oh, there's a tree there. That's unfortunate. So I feel like the designers kind of trained me to be a little bit more calculated by punishing me for not being calculated.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no, indeed. So that's two guys in the rough and two on the fairway, right? So what is so difficult about this course? Can you tell me?
Well, so far. Yeah, you go, Jimmy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I haven't played it. I'm sure I've played it, but I can't remember exactly until we get into it. But even just looking from here, looking up at the screen, I'm pretty sure we're going to be dealing with some pretty aggressive slopes around the green. It's specifically around the edges of the green. It's going to be tough to keep it anywhere near some of these pins.
The thing that I found about it when I played it was you actually have to look at what your miss is going to be, because the penalty for missing in the wrong place is so severe that you're not just pin hunting the whole time.
Yeah. Map Collector says the fairway cambers make it harder to stay in the short grass than it looks, and that's something that you instantly see on your first shot. So that it cambers away from you right there in that landing spot. So,
and there's a great example of a lot of what we'll probably see is where it feels like you could hit a great shot, you're going to get close, and then you'll start rolling backwards.
Rolls backwards.
Yeah.
So former Plat player. Sorry, I'm just reacting to chat.
Just going to lay it up here, because I would probably have to chip it anyway. All right, so a thing that I hear you say a lot, Wayne, when you're playing newer designers courses is don't protect par. This course by B101 arguably protects par a lot. Do you agree?
Yes and no. Seb has mentioned, I mean, I did have a pretty good round out here, so it's possible to shoot. I think when I say people trying to protect par, I know Mayday's here too, and he's another guy that'll talk about, thou shalt not protect par. I think a lot of it is what Ben has done here is he's made a difficult golf course, but there's always a shot. There's always a way to hit a shot where you're going to be, there's always a way to make par. Let's put it that way. And then if you hit a really good shot, you can make birdie. And that's kind of his design philosophy. I've heard him say that a few times, where he believes that par should always be relatively easily attainable. And then good shots should require birdie. What I see with newer designers, when they're protecting par per se, they'll have, like right here, we've got this ridge in front of the green, right? Or in front of the pin.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll have behind the pin will be just running off into God knows where it's like basically you either hit the absolute perfect shot or you have nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas Ben, he's giving us places where we can play to. And then if we can make a few putts, we can still score.
Exactly. So in chat, Seb is saying, I think there's a difference of protecting par with gimmicks and just generally making a tough course. And Mayday says it's not so much about protecting par at all costs, is doing things that make par interesting. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I like what Mayday said there for sure. Like I've put myself in a spot here by trying to get aggressive. Where coming up, if I can make par here, it's going to be off the back of a really good shot out of the bunker. So it does make it like rewarding as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the real life golf space, you'll hear them say that kind of thing with U.S. Open setups where there's a premium on par.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not necessarily protecting from it, but you do want pars to be like decent scores, and birdies are you're making putts. You're making putts for a birdie.
And I think ultimately a good golf course. That was a practice swing.
Partial pitching on mouse.
Oh, fair enough. I think that a good golf course rewards good shots and penalizes bad shots. And when you're making a course difficult by using gimmicks, you often penalize reasonable shots. It's either an amazing shot or it's an awful shot. There's no kind of, it's very binary. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, getting penalized for marginally good shots.
Yeah.
So what you'll find when I look, just the other day I was looking in one of the Facebook groups and somebody said, hey, this is my first course. It's difficult. You really need shot shaping here to get to the green. So I thought, okay, with this podcast stream in mind, I thought, let's play that and see what happens. And the reason why you need to shape your shots is not because the greens are angled in a particular way, but it's because there's trees in the way and you have to shape your shot around them. That would be the gimmicky protecting par we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I feel like those designs as well kind of limit the creativity of the player because it becomes all you have to do. Like you can only shape around this tree. That's the only option I'm giving you.
Yeah.
Where you take that obstacle away and add more creativity to the green, suddenly you see the hole played 10 different ways over the course of a tournament.
Yeah.
You don't see very much. Like it's a rare golf hole in real life, at least, that forces a certain shot on the player.
Yeah.
Oh, nice miss. Blah.
To answer Seb K in chat, this game is actually like a really good like case study in that, because in this game everybody can hit it 350. So when you're playing some of the tour courses, you kind of get a more real feel for what it's like if as the tech continues to advance, because it is a huge discussion in the IRL golf space with distance and are people hitting it too far, and this game's like a really good case study in that.
So Seb asked, how much discussion is there about distance of courses nowadays with new tech in real life? That must be more of a thing now than before. Mayday said, pull off great shots, make birdie, miss, and get ready to scramble. The biggest difference between a course that's set up for CC opposed to plat should be large/small are the margins for error. Yeah. Which is partly why we tend to see faster, firmer, windier conditions on higher tours, all variables that shrink the margin for error.
Yeah. I want to go back to the idea of distance in real life. That's a conversation. I've been playing golf for 35 plus years. I hate to admit that, but that's a conversation that's been happening the entire time I've played the game.
It's been happening.
It's just now that we've started to see And people forget, like people are like, oh, Bryson's broken the game. Well, I guess they weren't here in 2000 when Tiger was dominating everything. To get out of all a million miles. He just took it a step farther because the equipment allows him to.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Seb. I appreciate that.
Yeah, shaft technology has really taken off. Shafts and golf balls.
So
Yeah, because when Tiger...
Maddie is saying with the driver carry, you really have to stretch the whole length to retain shot values. I think that's true.
Yeah, it's so true.
The day of a driver long iron par 4, it's very difficult to do that anymore.
Yeah, you almost have to go 500 yards in this game to achieve that. Yeah.
I don't see a problem with an 8,000-yard golf course when we're all hitting at 350, though.
No.
True.
In real life, I do because, land.
Yeah, because we don't do that in real life. We don't all hit it 350.
There's that too, but let's say we all did. You can't. That's too much land to be using up.
Yeah, that would be a total. And that's that other discussion, though, right? That's a completely other discussion that I'm probably on the same side as you with. Because I'm about the sustainability, baby.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and just the maintenance costs, the watering, the fertilizer, all that stuff. It's just it's
more and more unrealistic, especially as we demand better and better conditions.
Exactly.
That's what I like about links golf.
Yeah, links can get away with just about anything because they just say, well, it's a links. And then people are like, oh.
But yeah, Seb, that's exactly what I was saying is as I've been playing this game, it's been an interesting thing that I've relate and talked to other PGA pros about. It's like, well, I do see people hit at 350 all the time. And these courses that are short, if the greens aren't silly, we shoot 18 under on it.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here talking about this, because the greens shouldn't be silly. Like you said, like, why can't we hit some 4 and 5 irons into some of these par 4s and have the good tiers? And like you're saying, put a pin close to an edge, but give me that space behind it to where, I can play it close, but I can still play it safe and have a putt.
So how similar or different, Kyle, is golf in this game to the real thing, you being a pro?
Incredibly similar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Except
the putting
really is.
For the physical part of it, of course, but...
Yeah.
So can you explain why that is? Or can you give an example where you really find it that similar?
A lot of the mental aspect of it, especially as we're playing on like TGC tours, just the competitive pressure and having to think your shots through. I like playing on the settings we do because there's still an aspect of creativity to it when it comes to shot shaping and how you're going to play ball low or high. Do you want to roll it up? And all that stuff is still there. That's very much intact in this game, and that's what I find so beautiful about golf anyways, is it's just as much an artistic endeavor as it is an athletic one.
Yeah.
You also take a very realistic approach to the game, Progressive. So like kind of anecdotally here, something I remember is, I think is when you first started streaming this game, I came across Progressive stream and he was playing on TrueSim settings, hadn't even played TGC settings yet, was just trying to figure it out. And I started watching him and he was using all the camera angles and reading these putts the way he would read them in real life and draining like 35 footers on Fruitland Farms on TrueSim settings. And I was like, this guy is going to be good if he can apply things like that this quickly. So it was super interesting to see, completely different than how a lot of us would try to read a TrueSim putt, because a lot of us do actually use like the UI to our advantage, for example, to try to figure out where the break is.
Yeah.
He was just giving it natural, realistic reads using the cameras. So it was really cool to see.
Let me concentrate for a second.
Right. I totally neglected the 15-mile-per-hour wind dead into our face.
Oops.
I thought that's why you were pitching it, to keep it under it.
I tried, but it wasn't doing it enough.
No, I went up like 3 or 4 clubs and I still didn't quite get there. But I was in the rough.
So how much does playing True Sim help your overall game here?
I think a lot.
I think a lot. Yeah, I get a good feel for certain things. It definitely slows me down. I take time. I get better at reading, especially when we're playing on PC. When it comes to the ghost breaks and stuff, as we all know, are very real.
Yeah.
It really, really tremendously helps being able to just still worm cam it and then get a good read.
Exactly. Yeah, I found that too. So many missed putts in my CC rounds before that I now make because I see that ghost break. For anyone who is not on PC and not familiar with ghost breaks, the beads and the grids don't always tell you. Oh, nice chip.
Boy, Jimmy.
Don't always tell you what the green is actually doing. So, actually reading it with the camera way down low helps you to read your putts better.
Yeah, once I started playing True Sim, there were definitely straight putts or non-moving putts that I could see right away. There's break. Yeah. Nice chip.
Nice chip.
Thanks.
It's just me left.
Thanks, Lucas.
Look at this fine group of gents and Amy. The ghost breaks are only on PC? ? I think they are. Aren't they?
If not, they're more prevalent for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the way to describe it is that there seems to be more speeds that the beads can move on PlayStation compared to PC. So sometimes they just don't move at all on PC, where they would be slightly moving on PlayStation to give you that visual cue. Hey, there might be some break here.
Somebody followed me, but my notifications are so small that I can't see who. But thanks for the follow. All right. Wayne, I know you play more by feel than some others. What is your approach to a difficult hole or a challenging shot when you look at it?
I agree with Kyle that, and when it comes to, I play kind of like I would in real life if I actually could hit the ball the way I do in real life. If I could play, if I could hit the ball in real life the way I do in this game, that's how I would play in real life. So a difficult hole here, like I'm looking at this and going, I don't want to miss this right, because I'm then gonna have to. I'm short-sighted. The green's running away from me. Now I don't do the math as far as the wind. The wind's 12 miles an hour. That means nothing to me. That's why I'm not on plat. Well, one of many reasons I'm not on plat. So I'm gonna just kind of guess how far to put it out here. But I'm going to be doing as best as I can to leave this under the hole, because the greens are 180, so they're not slow. And trying to chip this from right of the green is just not going to work.
No.
And so, we're going to miss left, which is fine.
Yeah, Map Collector says rightfully that this is the hardest win for this hole.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's the exact opposite direction of where you want the ball to go.
And so this is one of those holes where, to me, one of the genius of this designs is you kind of need to play for your miss here, right? Like
exactly. Yeah.
You could try and cut one back into the wind, I suppose. But and Jimmy stiffs one.
And I think that's where some of the pressure of Platinum Tour is. You feel like you always have to try to make something happen where you probably shouldn't. And so I'm always pretty much trying to go for that, even if now it means having to make a miracle putt.
In real life, though, is in this game, it's actually easier to hit a straight shot. In real life, it's so hard to hit it straight. Nobody plays a straight ball.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to work it one way or other.
See, I find the opposite. And I mean, I was a decent player.
Ooh, so hard to hit it straight.
And I played with Balata balls that really moved.
Well, I mean, we're talking about getting to the highest levels. Hitting it really straight all the time. Nobody does it.
Yeah. Live on the board says that the beads also don't account for smaller changes in slope. They just average between the bead grid points. That's true. see, it's okay. Would you, Midnight Fox says, would you just cut it into the wind so it drops close? I think that's what we all tried here. I'm not sure if Kyle is doing that. That's
a good shot.
Yeah,
That's good.
Oh, I
drew
just
that back
landed
in the for sure.
a couple inches short.
I personally didn't put any shape on it, just like a little bit of backspin,
Yeah.
just to try to get it to land softer. And the reason is just because even on the pro swing tempo settings, it does create more margin for error the more frisky you get with the shaping.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of just like to keep a predictable miss for me, where I knew like, all right, this is probably either going to drift too far left or
So I'm
maybe
just gonna
somehow stop dead.
I'm just going to zoom out here and give you a sky view here. I'm not sure if you guys are all watching the stream at the same time, but just looking at this hole from up in the air, it would have been really easy to put bunkers on the left side as well and have heavy rough there and have all sides of this green be very difficult. But I think, and I think you'll agree with me, Wayne, here, because I know you say this a lot of times, is that if you have one side that's real obvious danger with those bunkers and have another side that is visually safer somehow because it's green and not sand, it makes it way more interesting than if you would just pepper this whole green, like the surrounding of the green, with bunkers, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I would almost argue that it might almost be harder with the left side being bare like that because the ball can roll away.
Exactly.
And you've got a fall off rolling down a hill.
I completely agree with that statement.
Whereas if you had rough and bunkers there, the ball would just ease in the rough and you'd have an easy chip up the hill.
Yeah.
Especially and in real life, I guess it would be too. But if you do roll down into that left side, it's an awkward distance in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think in real life, it's probably an awkward distance for most players as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, the fact that we have the splash shot, which is stupidly easy, kind of hurts that. But
yeah, because that's like the bailout. If you don't know what to do, I'll just splash it, which you wouldn't do 2 or 3 yards from a green, probably.
No, you'd hit.
No way.
You hit that partial pitch, but the partial pitch punishes you so badly if you don't quite get it. And splash doesn't, which is weird because a splash shot there should be hard.
Yeah. Maddie says, I think for better players and designers, oftentimes roll-offs are much harder. Yeah, I think I agree. It's not ideal to have danger on both sides, says Jick and Wings.
Not the same danger. I mean,
Depends on the size of the green and the distance of the shot.
That too.
You know? And that's something I kind of wrote down, I wanted to emphasize here in this discussion was like, take into consideration, if I got a wedge in my hand, it's okay to give me this tight little thing. But if I got a 4-iron, give me some space. It's okay to have danger around the greens for the red fasts and stuff, but give me a little
Maddie
space.
had a recent course on Platinum
something
that had a good example of that, where it was a tiny little green with a lot of danger, but it was like a 90-yard shot. So
it's a 90-yard shot. That's completely acceptable.
Talking about Hackamore, right? Hackamore Field?
Yeah.
I love Hackamore.
Can we address the 3-wood plus par 3 design decisions? Colby, tell us what you mean by that.
And while we're waiting, I mean, the number of times I see newer designers create a 210-yard hole where the pin is 6 feet onto the green and there's a downslope behind the hole.
Yeah.
It's just unrealistic.
It's impossible is what it is, right? You can't get anywhere near it.
It's like deflating as a player too, to feel like the course is against you or like intentionally unfair, even if that wasn't designed to be intentionally unfair. As a player, those things do stand out, and for me, it's one of the things that can be a tough, like, mental challenge playing, is feeling like the course is against me.
Yeah.
I think what Kobe was saying too is that same thing about, like, if we're going to have a 250-yard par 3, that better be a huge green.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have some major slopes in it, but it better be like tiered. Give me sections of flatness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for God's sake, please don't put a massive false front on it too.
Yeah. That if I hit a 3-wood into it, it just stops short.
And then rolls back 20 yards.
Yeah. Because exactly what Colby's saying. We can't loft it. We can't generate anything. We can't hold it. Can't control where it goes on the green.
Hello.
Yeah, I think Maddie's right. It doesn't have to be huge necessarily, but there has to be room that you have to give me the opportunity to let the ball roll 20, 30 yards because it's going to. I can't stop.
That is something that Q did on his newest course for the Rookie Design Contest. He created these huge fringes that will actually allow for a lot of ground game. Wayne, I know you played it yesterday. Did you play it yesterday?
I love the ground game.
Yeah.
Great course.
It's just so much fun. I just played 9 holes today, but it's so much fun to see what your ball does around those greens, and it's such a different approach to design in this game, I think.
Yeah, and that's Q. He loves ground, and it is more fun. It's more fun to look at it and go, okay, well, I'm going to try and feed it in from here and let it do this.
What a shot.
Thanks, guess.
Yeah, so Map Collector says, I look at front of greens completely differently based on hole length.
Yep.
And DTP Gaming, have any of you designed courses on this game? I have.
I have
what
not.
about you guys?
I've spent significant time in the course designer, but I've never published anything.
I designed half a hole on stream, and then
how did that go?
I hated it.
I opened the designer and got overwhelmed very quickly, and I spent like about 20 minutes. I gave it a good college try, but there was just so much going on, and it's not incredibly intuitive in my opinion. So it's pretty impressive what people are able to figure out, especially all the weird tricks that they use to simulate things.
I think I had about 2 hours total. The first hour, I purposely went in there without watching any of the tutorials. And then the second hour, I had watched some of Andre's Crazy Canuck 1985, some of his tutorials. And I just, even then, I realized, I mean, I kind of knew going in, but I realized really quickly how much time I was going to have to spend to get at all competent with the tools and then visualize everything. And I just was like, it's not for me. I'm not enjoying this. So
I think DTP, if you want to do it, just really watch Crazy Canucks videos to start with. He has really good tutorial videos, and it takes a lot of patience overall, but especially in the beginning. I remember like envisioning golf holes and not being able to sculpt the land properly to create the holes that I saw in my mind, and it took me 3 or 4 courses to even be able to call myself a designer in that sense, that I could actually create what I wanted to create. That is a little
pain.
That hurt, dude. That hurt.
Yeah, the Crazy Canuck 101, the course design 101 tutorials, those are your starting point.
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. And Seb, you're going to be waiting a long time because it's never happening.
I suspect a lot of designers are also good with, like, there's probably a decent amount of crossover of designers that are good with like Photoshop or video editing, because I think the like competency you need with the tools is actually kind of similar. The patience as well.
Oh, that could be true.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, I wanted to ask you this. In your opinion, would a good or challenging golf hole in this game in general be too difficult for real life golf?
No.
No?
No.
Tell me why.
I just don't think there's a big enough difference. And again, at high levels of golf, you kind of do know where your ball's going. Mm-hmm. In the same way, I know when I'm on the tee ball, I know which shape it's going to have, and I know the general direction in which it's going. 90% of the time. and I can get around pretty much any golf course. I think with that. Now shooting 6 under everywhere I go, no. But even par, yeah. And
Man,
this
that
golf
must be nice.
This game is very similar in the sense that, you know, I kind of always have the idea of where it's going to go, probably more like 95% of the time. But I can control the spin the exact same way. I can control the shape the exact same way. I don't see that big of a difference. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to play some of these golf courses to like even par. Now, again, I'm not going to shoot TGC numbers. 10 under, no. But even par, absolutely. And that's what I would consider, you know, playable.
Okay. So now you're a professional golfer. Wayne, you used to play professionally, but now I don't know what is your handicap now?
No, I played in college. I didn't quite get to
college,
pro.
Okay.
My handicap now, 4 or 5, something like that. I barely play anymore.
Okay. So, do you think for amateur golfers, this is the same? Like it's the same as what Kyle just said?
Yes and no. Your amateur player doesn't have as much control over where the ball's going.
For sure.
And they're far more susceptible to that complete disaster shot that just goes sideways. But at the same time, when I look at courses and when I look at the courses that I like, they're courses I would probably want to play in real life.
Yeah.
It's because I enjoy that realism. And I think that, so if it's, you know, I don't think I've played a TGC Tours course outside of, you know, a couple where I wouldn't be able to play it in real life. I wouldn't shoot a particularly great score, but I'd still be able to get around it.
Yeah. Let me add to that too, that I can't speak on platinum courses because I really don't play them.
Yeah.
I am just speaking from TGC courses only.
And that's why we have Jimmy in this conversation.
And I'm also like definitely very recreational for real life golf. Like I still have rounds where I might decide on the 8th hole, I'm not going to keep score for the rest of this round because that's going to be better for my mental health. And yeah, like a lot of the courses on Platinum Tour would be completely unplayable for me in real life. Even just some of the way a lot of the distances are designed, like some of the kind of forced layups, it's like I wouldn't even be able to make it here.
But if there be a suitable set of tees potentially that would make it playable?
And that's a good question because we're always playing pretty much on like the furthest tees and like the toughest conditions. So exactly it would be interesting to see. It could be possible that they become much more playable, but yeah, we only get the experience of the really tough side of it.
Yeah, because I mean, Kyle, I'm guessing you go to the back tee just about anywhere you're playing, right?
Yeah.
And I do the same because I still have that mindset of I used to be able to play.
Well, a lot of it is just a distance thing.
Yeah. But for your typical, you know, always been an amateur, never really played competitive league guy, he's not going to the back tee.
Yeah, and he should be up at the like white tees or something. He's not hitting it 280, 300 yet.
Nice chip.
Yeah, if you're an amateur and you're hitting it 300, I think you should be playing at the back tees as well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely a distance thing, and that even goes back to what we were saying about how they should incorporate more distance and don't be afraid to make an 8,000 or 800 yard golf course because we do all hit it 350. Even the amateur players on the low ends of TGC or just getting into the game, playing on not hard settings, they're still hitting it 330, 350.
Yeah. I just played Matt's news course, spoiler alert for the episode coming out next week, but it's just shy of 8,400. It doesn't feel that long. It just, there's a lot of sticker shock in this game where you see a 530 yard par 4 and you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. And you hit driver 4 into it.
Yeah.
And that was
completely reasonable.
Absolutely. That used to be normal. Like that was a driver 2 par 4 was a completely normal thing.
Yeah, it's a completely reasonable, especially if you have a reasonable green that's not tricked out.
Yep.
That F's new course is 8,400 and still quite playable, Map Collector says.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
That being said, though, there can be courses with, much less distance, but single holes end up being like we had one on Platt, for example, that's coming to mind, where you had to go driver to reach into on a par 4 with the conditions we had. And I think that's it. Kind of just demonstrated a little bit that it is a bit of a fine line where you can just push it maybe a bit too far.
But if you had a reasonable green, I still don't think that's that pushing it that far, because in this game we can hit driver off the deck with as much ease as anything else. You just can't control it as well.
True.
But now again, if you're hitting that into a 187 green with a whole bunch of red slopes all over it, no, that's unrealistic.
So here's a question for you, Kyle, being a pro. Does par matter when designing a course?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I'm just trying to trigger some people in chat.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So what would your reasoning be for par mattering?
I think it matters in this game as well, because making putts is exciting. When I think about like when I watch golf and stuff, a lot of people get to the tee box to watch Tiger Woods tee off, but everybody is on the green to watch Tiger Woods putt.
Okay.
See,
go ahead.
I like to see the 70-foot putts. Like I watched Hemo drain like an 85-footer the other day for eagle, and he just lost his mind, and that was so exciting. I like seeing that more than tap-in birdies.
Okay, what I was meaning is people will say, well, it's a 520-yard hole. It doesn't matter if you call it a 4 or a 5. And I disagree with that thinking.
Oh, yeah, I disagree with that, too, because, again, you can make that, 500-yard par 5 unrealistically tough to where it's just, again, par's premium.
Mm-hmm.
You take away that 2-shot, you're not getting there in 2. You have a tiny green with this little wedge in your hand. That was hard to get to that wedge in your hand anyways. Yeah, it does. Par matters.
For me, it's the design of the hole. Like I go back to what the USGA and RNA say par is. It's the number of shots a scratch player is supposed to get.
I'm right there. I'm with you on that completely, as like just a golf fundamentalist, I guess.
Yeah. And so then par dictates how I'm supposed to play the hole to a point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
I think Seb makes a good point in chat. He says, especially since so much of golf is mental. So if you approach a 520-yard hole thinking it's a par 5, you feel fine. If it's a par 4, you start panicking. And then that panic on the tee box or wherever you are on that hole is going to mess with your shots probably.
Yeah, because on a par 5, you're hoping to get there in 2. Yeah. On a par 4, you're feeling like you have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you take that hole from a few weeks ago that I brought up, and like Colby described it in chat, it was pretty aggressive. But if you change it to par 5, a lot of us probably just happily take our medicine, lay up, smack it in close, and tap in for birdie and feel good about it and go on with our day and say, this is a great course.
Yep. %, agree with that. That the same thing with like that plays into that, the way visual tricks. It's just a mental trick.
Yeah.
That's why I like on par 3. Sometimes you have bunkers that are 25, 30 yards short of the green, but from the tee they will appear as if they're really close to the green, and it will kind of trick your mind into thinking that the green is actually closer. So then you're not sure, am I hitting the right club? And
that is so effective in real life too.
Yeah,
it really is. It's effective in the game, but it's so much in real life. I love that.
Of course, but
that's got to be something that is tricky to design around is scout cam.
Yeah, I agree. And it's especially in the beginning, it's tricky to design around, as in designers will say, oh, but it's no problem that bunker X or whatever on the course is blind because you have scout cam. And it takes a while before it takes a few feedback notes from other designers or from Wayne to realize that, oh yeah, people need to see it off the tee because that's what it would be like on a real golf course. Unless it's links, of course, because anything is allowed on the links. But actually, after this hole, I want to hidden hazards #triggered, says Mayday. After this hole, I want to invite you into the designer for a little bit, and you guys would probably just have to watch my screen on stream for a little bit.
Okay.
Because I designed 4 little holes that I wanted to discuss with you. Much of it has already come up at some point or in some way, but
Map Collector makes a great point there. I think Scout Cam absolutely does make new designers not care about blindness because they figure you can hit the triangle anyways.
Exactly.
Or maybe makes them just not think about it because of that same reasoning.
Just love the houses on this golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look nice. That's the hole, right? Or do we have... Oh, it's me.
So I won? Awesome.
Yep.
GG.
GG's, guys. All right.
Does that mean I get to be on plat now?
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
I just missed
Doily
my
here.
cut.
I'll message Doily. I'll let him know.
I just missed the cut on Elite, so maybe I got a little ways to go.
All right. So we're leaving this match. We'll play some holes on another golf course that is a LiDAR course later on, but I wanted to go into the designer here for a little bit and look at... I have 4 par 3 holes, and like Jimmy said in the beginning, it's the second shot or the third shot or whatever on a longer hole that will really make you think. More than the tee shot. So to discuss some things that we touched on earlier, here's a little island green. Chat, you can go wild now. I did actually create an island green. And I wanted to discuss this type of par 3 hole and compare it to a more or less similar type par 3 hole, namely with a lot of water around it, large water carry, but it's different. And let's just first get your first responses, guys, on the concept of an island green. Wayne, you go first.
So overdone. I mean, the concept of it in and of itself is fine. It's just how many actual genuine island greens exist in real life versus how many are designed in the game?
Not a lot.
And I mean, so as long as you make the green big enough that a reasonable shot doesn't get wet, okay. It's something that you mostly see newer designers doing. You don't really see established designers creating island greens because I think a lot of it is they have the ability to create interesting holes without relying on something like an island green.
Yeah. And this is the ultimate. There's danger all around. Either hit the green. Well, I actually gave you a little bit of fairway here, but either hit the green, hit the island, or be dead, basically, right?
Is it? How long is it?
It's 130.
Okay.
No, is it?
So it's a wedge.
Wait. It's not 130. This is a little bit longer. Oh, I put some nice stuff in the air for you guys to look at.
Oh, lovely.
It's 160.
The green's probably big enough for that.
Yeah, it's the size is probably a bit too large actually, but I just wanted to create. It's a very rough idea of this design. So, Kyle, island greens in real life. What do you do when you look at those?
Oh, yeah. I find the fat part of the green and aim at it. I don't really care where the pin is. If the pin's in a certain side, maybe I'll work it towards it, but I'm definitely aiming at a fat part of it. Yeah. Just getting the ball in play. In this game, I think this particular hole we're looking at is completely reasonable as well. you're going to get away with the gray slow. You're going to get away with the gray fast.
Sure.
As long as you're not putting a pin on the very edge of the green.
No, you shouldn't put one here in the corner or
one thing I do like with island greens is having depth to them. Maybe not as much left to right, but enough to save the gray shots. But I do like the length of it because I like to be able to play it long and maybe utilize something behind the pin or something like that.
Yeah, and then it shouldn't be as dead flat as it is here, probably. Now,
yeah, I wouldn't make it dead flat.
Jimmy, anything else on island greens? Do you love them, hate them?
I mean, I don't actually think in the context of this game they're particularly difficult. Like, I think what's interesting is when you pulled this up, to me, the green on the right is instinctively more frightening to me. And I've been sitting here trying to figure out why. And I think it's because with the island green, just going to probably try to get it in play and feel good about it. If we walk away with par, it's whatever. The green on the right, there's interesting options. I can try to be more aggressive, but if I mess the shot up, I'm going to definitely struggle to keep my composure. It's
shadows make it feel like everything slopes to the water too. Like everything seems like it's a heavy kick to the left.
Yeah, it's definitely, if I was picking one of these holes to play, if I stepped up to this and it was some weird, bizarre course where you get to choose the green, I'm probably actually playing for the island green most of the time. I agree.
So here's an interesting thing, and I'm curious if you agree with that. I read a book, I'm so good with titles, The Anatomy of a Golf Course. And Tom Doak says that when you have a green like this, where there's apparent danger all around, pro players will actually use all the danger around to kind of hone in on the green. So they know the water for most is not in play here because they will just hit, they're able to hit that green, no problem. And the water actually helps them to focus on that green. Now put less danger, less obvious danger, so one side that's safer, next to a green, he says, and people will feel a little bit lost sometimes because, okay, there's obvious danger here, so don't go there, but what's here? And that's what happens, he says, in a golfer's mind. And Kyle, I want to know if you know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah, 100%, especially when you do play with shadows and slopes on the other side of it. It gets really, really difficult to pick a shot and like commit to something. When, like you said, there's obvious danger and then there's some questionable things to the other side. So you start second guessing some of your things. And this shot, that's exactly what Jimmy and I were hitting on too, is like here, it's like those shadows are really throwing me off. Like it makes me not want to miss right, even though I know it's really flat.
Even my red slow made it though. Green's too big here, I think. All right. So next two holes, and this is the 200 plus yard par 3 twice. So one has bunkers on both sides, has a really narrow kind of pathway between those front bunkers, so you do have a little bit of room to roll the ball up, but you pretty much have to hit that green. And then more or less the same as what happened here, I think, on this hole. There's a hole that has a green sitting at a bit of an angle, and then there's one bunker protecting the front of the green, but there's a ton of room here. And here's where I think the difference between a pro player and an amateur player is really interesting. But I want your opinion on this. Do you consider, as a pro player or as a tour player in this game, do you consider this to be the safe side, or do you consider this as danger? Go, anyone who wants to shoot.
kind of have to play it. The other hole, I just see front pin is dead. On this one, I mean, we hit the ball so straight that I would just be going right at that pin. I wouldn't really be worried too much about. And the other thing to keep in mind too, short game is so easy in this game that unless there's significant slope, if I miss the green, oh well.
Yeah, because you'll chip it back.
At halftime, I'll chip it in because it's that easy.
Yeah, I have a different perspective on that. I would be working the ball right to left into this one, and I'd be avoiding that left low side as much as I could.
Okay. So you would actually play it to carry the bunker and then come in somewhere here, right?
Yeah.
So you'd be drawing it in there. Wow.
I mean, I'd go the total opposite way.
Kind of what I
would get the left side is
I'd be
safe.
cutting it.
Yeah. That's interesting. So,
how far is this one? This is like 200?
200 plus 200. I think it's, let's play it. This is 210.
Yeah. I stick by what I said.
So
I would cut a hybrid in there as a lefty. Yeah.
And so as a lefty, you'd be cutting this?
Yeah, I'd be hitting a really high cut hybrid.
Is that to make it land softer or just you're trying to
Yeah, it's going to land really soft.
Okay.
Up against the slope and protect myself from that big
that's short
slope down there. So I would be hitting it hybrid. I would have gone up one more. But that's exactly what I would have done.
And I guess this is where being a right-hander, I would probably cut it in there too, but then it's following the shape of the green, and it also has the benefit it's going to become in softer. Of course, I'd have to be able to consistently shape the ball, which I can't in real life.
And
yeah, I'm definitely trying to take the bunker out of play on this one because
I don't
just
even see
because
the
it's an
bunker
option.
as in play.
I mean, I find a way.
So you guys are talking real life. Like if we're talking about in the game,
Yeah, in the game too.
the game doesn't. The bunker's not there in the game.
Yeah,
and even if it is, bunker play is super easy in this game.
I prefer to be on this one. I would prefer to be on the left side on the fringe than in that bunker. For the way I play, at least, I feel like if I'm somewhere on this left side, I can probably partial pitch that in somewhat consistently. Where out of that bunker, I'm gonna get it close and tap in for par most of the time, but rarely gonna make.
Yeah. I guess
Colby
the answer. Sorry, I was just saying to answer your question originally, Daniel. The left side looks a bit more concerning to me because it looks like it could bounce into that rough. So you're going to be a decent ways away. And then in the rough where you have a little bit less control over how far the ball's going.
Yeah. And Colby says in the game, this green is too flat to need any shaping. That's true. I didn't do any green sculpting here. But I think if I would actually design this hole, like make it for a real course, this side of the green would be a little bit higher and it would slope towards that side probably, so that if you miss on the left, you're left with probably a pitch or a splash or whatever from right there, and then you'd need to stop it because the green slopes away from you. That would be...
That would definitely change the approach to the shot, I think, a little bit.
Okay.
So
That would reinforce what I was already doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is an interesting thing. The greens are the real protection of any course in this game, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can put all kinds of crap between the player and the green. They'll get over it. It'll work. But once you're on the green, if the green is difficult, the course is difficult. The other way around, two easy greens, and your whole course becomes way too easy.
I mean, the only other thing you could do is make the fairways 10 yards wide, but
sure, yeah, but that's gimmicky. I mean,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Protecting par in a gimmicky way.
Yeah, no, the greens are definitely what makes it more difficult.
Now, what's interesting to me is, and this doesn't really go for this game necessarily, but earlier, Kyle, you said that tee placement it's all about distance, but I would disagree on for instance, on a hole like this. If I would place different tees here, it would not just be about difference. I would
definitely
we're talking
lines.
real life goal. Yeah, exactly. So and that's where this this type of water hole that I have, I think is really, really interesting, because if you place a tee more to the right here, for an amateur golfer, this looks so much less intimidating. And then this is not much further away, but then there's that real water carry that you need to worry about as an amateur. Like this would be the club tees, and then obviously the pro golfer doesn't worry about that water because they know they can carry that. So this kind of tee placement I always think is really interesting, especially you can only do that on par threes, obviously. And that is where this hole is so different from an island green, even though you can still place a tee like right there, and then maybe it's a little bit exaggerated, but maybe one there even.
The angle doesn't really change much on the island green about the shot at all.
Then it's just the distance over the water, right?
Yeah.
But here visually, and that's where golf is a mental game, visually the shot is just way less intimidating and you probably feel more safe. And on this hole also you have a bailout option. Even if you're playing from this tee, in real life you would be able to hit it short on this side, and then if you're a bogey golfer, you're just chipping it on and two putting for personal par. Angle only changes if the green is very narrow in one direction, says Colby. Yeah, agreed. Agreed in this game, because you're not worrying about water carries at all unless the pin is like right next to the water, right, Colby? So fairways, like fairway aprons on longer par threes, would you agree that and this is a question for Kyle, I think, because you're a teaching pro as well, if you're an amateur golfer, this would probably be a really long par three to look at if you just learned how to play golf. So you probably want to be able to play this as a short, easy par four, right?
Yeah, I guess to a degree. I mean, I wouldn't. Amateur golfers are still going to go for it, though. They're not going to take less club and not go for a par three because it's a par three.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still going to take whatever they need to get it there.
Okay. I'm not sure that I agree. For me, at least, I will sometimes, if I there's on my local course here, there's a 200 meter par three. So that would be 220, I think, in yards.
Yeah.
A 220 yard par three that I still play as a par four. I will lay up because there's a huge fairway right in front of it.
My next question to you would be, what's your handicap? Because if you're breaking 90 and shooting in the 90s, you're better than most amateurs, and it's exactly because of what you're saying.
My handicap is 23.1 right now.
So you break 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're better than most amateurs still.
Okay.
And I think that's because of what you're doing.
Because
your course management. Yeah, your course management skills are better than most amateurs.
Yeah, 105 checking in, always sending it.
Most amateurs do shoot hundreds.
Uh-huh.
And they are sending it every time.
Yeah. Which is not the best option every time.
It's not. So, but like you're saying, I like that you have the option there, and this is different for ladies, okay, too, because amateur ladies will just take the other line.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a real golf course perspective, I love that because my ladies and my juniors can go play that hole, and they don't even care about par the same way men do, and that's just statistical fact.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I like what you're saying, and I like how you pointed that out because it plays different for so many different people that it's worth including it.
And now,
And
if you translate,
that'd be an ego.
Sorry,
No.
go ahead, Wayne.
I was just say that'd be an ego thing, would it, Kyle? That the guy goes for it and the lady's not as likely to.
I dare say so.
Yeah.
You guys are all in TGC Tour settings, right? So I don't need to change the difficulty settings here.
Yep.
Okay. Kyle, you want to join?
For sure. Sorry, I had the stream up on the main screen. Didn't even
that's
see it.
So and that's what I always I try to translate that to the game when I design holes, because I think it helps me design realistic looking golf holes.
Yeah, I was about to say, it really helps with the actual visual.
Yeah.
It just makes it feel like I'm more there.
Yeah, and I had a discussion
Immersion,
with
that's the word.
A designer that created his first course 2 weeks ago, or a discussion. I was talking to him, and I played his course, and I said, well, there's a very long par 3 that was all heavy rough and just a tiny bit of fairway right in front of a green that was hard to hit. If you would just create a lot of fairway in front of that hole, it would look realistic instantly. And he said, yeah, but it's not in play and you don't need it in the game. And I said, no, but in real life, if you're going for realism, in real life, the hole would look like that. So why not put it there?
Yeah, just the immersion helps. I think it's always a big bonus when I do like my own independent course ratings. You know, I'm definitely immersion's a big one, big score, its own category.
So the reason I wanted to play this LiDAR course is because these are actual golf holes from real life. And we talked a little bit about is it different? Is a hole in this game necessarily different from a real life golf hole? So what I want to do is like play 2, 3, maybe 4 holes and see if this actually challenges guys like Jimmy and Wayne and Kyle enough in this game. Just talk us through it as you play, guys.
Well, I missed my tempo, and that's everything in this game in a lot of ways. So
Wayne, talk us through what you're doing here.
I'm just going at the pin. I'm just trying to make sure I've got the right. I'm probably going to go through the back with this. That's fine. But there's not really a huge amount to have to think about, because the one thing this game doesn't simulate about real golf is the strike. Even if you miss your tempo, you still flush it. And like maybe a very slow or very fast kind of clanks, but you don't have that in this game. Whereas in real life, you'd be potentially 190.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about making sure I have a solid contact. Whereas here, I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly, and that's what Midnight Fox says. Would this game be more fun or realistic if hitting it perfect would still have some carry percentage variation? Like a driver hit perfectly would be 96 to 100%.
No, because then Colby's got the exact right answer to that.
I think the problem with that...
RNG.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if we're being honest, light rough, it shouldn't be always going shorter. You should have a potential for a flyer in there.
Sure, yeah.
But then you're into RNG, and people would lose their minds if all of a sudden a ball went screaming over the back.
but when they tried to make it input based, for example, like the splash stuff, people also lost their minds. So it is a tough thing to do in a video game.
Yeah, it is.
I think we have to just accept that a video game is going to be different from real life, and probably easier.
There's just going to always be, there's just always going to be a higher degree of precision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think part of that is that I can go out and shoot 90 outside easy enough. I don't need to be doing it on a video game too.
Yeah.
That's
not fun to me. Although actually to me it probably would be, because I'm kind of a masochist that way.
Well, that's why we play True Sim.
Exactly.
Yeah, like True Sim is really rewarding, and I don't shoot super low. Yeah, I think this week I'm 7 under through 2 rounds and felt good about it.
I just can't read the greens to save my life on True Sim. I can't see it.
I had that problem on Pebble or Cobble Beach this week. I was 3 under for round 1, and then I was through hole 8 in round 2, and I was 7 over.
Oh no!
So I just quit. That was the point where it wasn't rewarding anymore.
So here we have some pretty thin fairways, but in this game it still doesn't become too much of an issue.
You know, so on that last par 3 there, it was so much easier with that being into the wind.
Mm-hmm.
If that was downwind where that pin was, it really wasn't that easy of a hole.
So this course, I think, plays pretty well in this game. I played it in True Sim a few weeks ago. It was on the tour. I thought it was a blast, actually. I really loved it in True Sim. I still like it, and it still holds up when you have all the info that you don't get in True Sim. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Oh, come on.
I mean, it feels kind of easy. Like we've got a sub 500 yard par 5 here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this hole plays out.
With no danger that I can see yet.
That's a tight little drive.
Yeah.
On True Sim, that drive's definitely trickier as well. You pull up the book and see those fairways. You get a little nervous.
I think just distance, more distance to this one, bring this bunker even more into play.
Oh, that's nice.
Would have could help this. We'll see how the green looks though.
So what you'll see a lot is that people recreate their local golf courses when they start designing, and they because they want to play their own course in the game, which is completely fair, obviously. And I think you played one, Wayne, a while ago, and you said there's nothing really wrong with the golf course apart from the fact that each hole was just too short to be fun in this game.
I think there was that, and I think the other thing is when you recreate your own golf course, it's fun for you because you know the course.
Mm-hmm.
But for everybody else, it's kind of like most people's courses that they play every day are not fantastic golf courses, right? They're gonna be decent, might be okay, but they're not the kinds of courses you're like, oh, I can't wait to play this on, whatever game.
Yeah. And
so for me, not knowing the course, I don't have any appreciation for, like, if I created the course I grew up on, you guys would be like, this course is terrible.
Same thing.
Right. It's a little 3,000 yard 9-holer that is basically dead straight all the time.
Chicken Wings is asking, how do you consider, or maybe what do you consider an appropriate blind shot?
Oh man. I think
you go, Wayne.
I was just gonna say, I think it needs to kind of look like it hasn't been manufactured. Mm-hmm. So if you have a plot that has like a bunch of dunes on it, and it just so happens this tee shot you've got to go over a dune, then that can work. What were you thinking, Kyle?
I was thinking, hiding, kind of like they say, it is a little gimmicky, but with the way some people do the trees, where like if you're not moving the camera, you really can't see what's behind that tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like the way some people utilize slopes, just really big slopes that feed to things that it starts so subtle, but it was like fairway or something, then it gradually gets heavier as it gets deeper into the slope. I consider that pretty blind. Like you really didn't know how deep that slope was, and
yeah, I mean, as long as there's some kind of, like, some people will put a post up, or they'll have the trees in the background kind of be like giving you an idea of where the edges of the fairways are, just so you have some kind of an idea of where you're going.
Midnight
but I
Fox
think
says, I don't mind a blind tee shot if I can't see the landing zone, but know where it's generally safe and know where it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, like and Mayday had said a bunch earlier the blind hazard drives him nuts. I completely agree. Yeah, I don't think you should ever not be able to see a penalty hazard.
That's
There
still
was one in
happens.
True Sim recently that wasn't marked on the book. It was very jarring to end up in that water.
I was in that one too.
And the thing is, with some shots that would be blind in this game, they're not necessarily blind in real life, because in real life you can just go and jump a little bit or take 2 steps to the left and actually see something. And that's,
lots of courses have GPSs on the carts these days anyway.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. The 18th at Pines, I only knew was a hazard from watching that tournament in real life. And Colby says the water on 18 in the book is in the book, but it's so faint that it's basically invisible. I'm not sure which course we're talking with that water hazard.
I think it was like last week on True Sim.
Oh, okay. Was that was Torrey Pines, right? Yeah, Torrey Pines
Yep.
South. Yeah. So, Chad, if you have any questions or things you want to say, we probably have 1.5 holes left in us before
So this
we.
is-
Yeah, go ahead.
This is kind of a blind tee shot.
It is.
So you've got a post. They've stuck a post there to kind of give you an idea. It doesn't translate as well into the game because if you hit it straight on that, you're going through the fairway. But you would play this once or twice, and then you'd kind of go, okay, well, actually, I need to go a bit right of that post, and you'd figure it out. That gorse would be horrible in real life, but in the game, it's nothing. Oh, geez, that's a good swing. But it looks fairly natural in that, again, there's a mound there that is just there, and so they've routed the hole around that. And to me, that's fine.
Ooh, that's slow. That will be okay. Yeah, and this is something that we touched on before in the video on your YouTube channel, Wayne, is that the really tall grass and the gorse and everything, it's too easy to hit it out of.
Yeah, it is.
So for a new gamer, I really hope that they adjust adjust the lie if you're in that tall grass that's right there, because that would just grab your club and your club would go anywhere, basically, in real life.
Colbster's got a good question there.
Question for general golf hole design, IRL, and potentially the game too. Should all holes be hole outable or not? And if not, what's the reasonable expectation for a putt distance for a good shot?
Let me rephrase this question and ask you if that's what you're asking, Colbster. If what you're asking is, should pins be on extreme slopes? I think not. And that goes for the game too. Because if it's not on an extreme slope, you can hold it out. If there's a couple of feet of relatively flatness around it, you can hold it out from anywhere. But if it's on an extreme slope, no. You can't hold it out. IRL and in game, right?
Well, I wonder if he's wondering, like, if you've tucked a pin behind a bunker that's requiring a 200-yard shot and it's 9 feet onto the green. Oh, heads up.
Speaking of holding out.
Nice one.
Bit of a golf shot.
That'll do.
So looking at your scorecard, this is probably too easy for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, if he's asking, should all hole locations be accessible? I think the answer is no. They shouldn't all be accessible. It's okay to have some holes on the green that you just can't get within 20 feet. But again, I think it's exciting to see putts made. But we also see that in real life.
True.
Yeah. It's one of those ones I don't know that there's a definite yes or no answer. It's that, everybody's favorite answer of it depends. It depends on why you can't get at it. I could see a hole where, you get it within 10, 15, 20 feet, and that's a good shot. And because of the way it's created, it's a good hole. Yeah. But I can also see it where it's done in such a way that you're like, this is dumb. So
if it's on some extreme slope, you hit right next to it and it's still rolled 60 feet away or something. That's not because it was like inaccessible or something. Like, again, the extreme slope I don't like.
No, me either.
Pins on extreme slopes because it's not. You can't make it. You can't make the putt.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, I won't call out partially because of my bad memory, but there was a course a couple of weeks ago that still has stuck with me where the extreme slope example on that course was that it was a red slope into a pin on a kind of yellow slope into a red slope. And I had a putt where I hit it like 4%. And I even said before it, I'm not trying to make this. I'm just trying to find a 2-putt here. And it wasn't possible. There was no way to safely 2-putt. It rolled all the way off the green and I had like 15 yards coming back. And that was one where I was just like, I don't know if that's fair because there's no way to just be like, all right, I'll play it safe. Like you're just screwed from that position. And that was all just because of how extreme the slope was.
Yeah.
Man, I agree. You should always have a safe option, in my opinion. Like there should always be a way to play the hole where you can be safe and make par.
Yeah.
Or try to make par.
So Midnight Fox says in real life, when I worked as a grounds crew, I put pins on extreme slopes for a jerk member and watched him lose his mind. That is really funny. Mayday asks, for guys like Jimmy and Colbster, especially for guys like you, which types of shot around the green make you the most uncomfortable? I.e. partial splash from well below the hole, etc. I guess worded differently, aside from penalty area /OB, is there any kind of result you're looking to avoid at all costs if you miss?
I definitely would go with Colby's answer there about steep, heavy, rough slopes. That's everything in this game. The context of this game around the green is fairly easy. But when you get in those really steep side slope, downhill lie, 70% rough, that's where it's like, oh, okay, I really put myself in a bad spot here and anything could happen now.
And that is what Ben B101 worked with really well on the course that we played earlier. There's a lot of that type of slopes around the greens.
Right fast, low.
Salmon says, I wish there was more punishing lies like that. Yeah, I agree. I wish the bunkers were more difficult, actually.
Yeah.
I wish they could really work out a way to make the bunker shot more difficult without it being impossible like it was when they nerfed that.
The splash shot stuff that we had for a bit.
Yeah.
Bunkers are the easiest shot in golf, though. Greenside bunkers.
The only one you don't have to hit the ball.
It's the only time you don't have to hit the ball.
Exactly. And then,
as a matter of fact, it's the worst thing you can do.
And say if you do hit the ball, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's the easiest shot in golf.
I will miss the sand and hit the ball sometimes and then just drop a new one in the sand because it's gone.
I'd much rather be, like in real life, I'd much rather be like on a par 5, greenside bunker and 2 than pretty much anywhere else besides on the green.
Yeah, when I actually played, I would certainly take bunker over rough.
Yeah.
Now, a fairway lie, I would rather have that. But
Yeah, that's different. Fairway's different. That there, I do agree. They could up the difficulty on that. But it does. They have a pretty good variation on the lie percentages they give you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that in order to make short game and putting appropriately difficult relative to the rest of the game, it would be so friggin' frustrating that people wouldn't want to play. Like if you're looking, what PGA Tour guys, is it 8 feet where they're 50%? Somewhere in that neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it's like 8.
So imagine if you were only making 50% of 8-footers in here.
Difficult.
People go crazy. Like for the game, it's probably more like 15 feet, 20 feet is your 50% range.
Yeah, 8
I think
feet.
it's like
I
20.
think most people that play this game a lot expect to be automatic.
Oh.
Yeah. Where an 8-foot putt in real life is not an easy putt.
Yeah.
In the game, it's not easy. I
mean, that's a 6-foot putt I just had, and it felt like 2 feet.
Yeah, that's true. Samuelman asked earlier, any insights to what people think needs to be better in the new game when it comes to custom designs? So are you asking Samuelman what needs to be better in the designs or in the designer?
That sounds like a question for you. Sounds like he's asking about the designer itself.
Yeah.
I would say that we need to be able to sculpt bunkers better, in the sense that designer. Okay, yeah. So especially on links courses, you will have bunker lips that what do you call that when they're just straight up?
The revetted face ones?
Sorry?
The revetted face?
The revetted face. So that we need. Spline OB Terps is a very good one because you're painting OB with very big brushes right now. Here goes chat. Custom drop zones. The bunker mechanics, I hope gets a remodel in the next game. Like I said, I would love tall grass to have a even worse lie than the regular heavy rough right now.
Yes,
but I would also like an extra grass texture. So right now you have 3 grass textures. Is that true? No, there's 4. There's green, fairway, light rough, heavy rough. I would like to have a 5th one. So you can spline fringe, says Pat Levar. So you can create a 5th layer around your course where there's more dried out grass, even thicker grass. I would love it if they could do that. That is a big one for me, actually.
I mean, it'll never happen. I'd love to see them be able to have red and yellow water hazards.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes.
Because right now, a lateral hazard is basically OB in this game.
Oh gosh, the whole drop zone system in this game is the most frustrating thing ever.
Couldn't they? I mean, you can paint OB. So couldn't you just paint red and yellow hazards?
In theory.
In theory, you could. It takes a bit more coding, but
I think from 2K's perspective and HB's perspective, is that where they are thinking they need to spend the most time on the game, right? Or is that us hardcores that are thinking that?
Do you know what? In this whole discussion, I'm not sure if it even makes sense to have it right now. I mean, obviously it makes sense, but we don't even know if they're using the same game engine for the next installment of the game. If they're changing game engines, we're looking at a totally different system for the designer.
Wow, true.
Because we're still working with Unity, which is really old, and it's really limiting, especially for console. I think it's really limiting what they can do visually, graphically in this game. So, and I think it was a month and a half ago, I saw that they'd be able, that they were looking for someone who had experience with the Unreal Engine. at HB Studios. Wonder if new engine will help with draw distances. Yeah, me too. And Brooks likes to be able to delete beta courses. Yeah, the problem with that though is that once a course is in somebody's society and you decide to delete it, you mess with people's schedules.
The other issue is as soon as you publish a course, HB owns it.
True. Yeah.
You can't delete it. It's theirs.
Yeah.
Theirs. Which is...
There's a lot about societies that could use some upgrades as well.
Why am I limited on how
publish a
many?
society to all platforms would be huge, in my opinion. Let me manage a society from PC that shows up everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, why can I only be in 10 societies?
Yeah, what the heck is that, dude? I don't understand, like, what technical limitation is there that I can only join 10?
But it's like real life. I mean, if you have...
I have enough money to pay for all the club fees.
Yeah.
You can only play tournaments with other Callaway users. Titleist Society, Callaway Society. That's like real life. That's really realistic.
It's a money thing in real life too, man. You can pay for whatever you can play for, or you can play whatever you can pay for.
Yeah.
Join as many clubs as you want if you got the dough.
Yeah, I don't, for the life of me, understand why there's a limit on how many societies you can be in.
It just blows my mind too.
Why would you limit community engagement?
Yeah. Oh, you guys want to play together? Only sometimes. only this many times a week.
Wayne, join my society. Ah, sorry, dude. I'm already in town. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not even ever gonna make one because there's just too many good ones out already. It's like I don't want to do that to people.
Yeah. But speaking of the game engine, we don't have an official release date. We don't have anything for about a new game, right?
No.
So it would seem to me that this would be the best time to be thinking about changing game engines because you don't have any kind of deadline you need to worry about.
True.
Unless EA gets their stuff together and then you want to match them.
That game's dead on arrival if it doesn't have a course designer.
I agree completely.
I personally think there's a lot of things they could do to make it something that a lot of us like. I think I'll be playing both games if EA includes. There's a few specific things that I know would keep me very invested in it. Like if they borrowed some of the models from their other games, like Weekend League in FIFA. Golf is already a weekend-based sport. If there was some sort of competitive weekend-based, I'd be playing it.
I just think for me, you can't have enough courses to keep it from getting stale.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Not when there's another game that has virtually unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about 2K bringing a new golf game because people keep making new courses, and I'm quite happy to keep playing this.
Yep.
I think that's because I'll be playing both. It won't really bother me. Like I'll get that fix of variety from 2K, and then the sort of. I think the presentation and the grind will be better on EA personally.
Yeah, I mean, I have an open career mode in this, so.
Yay, nice chip. All right, I think that's it for the talking about hole design part. You guys are. Shall we just continue this round? But. I'll stop the YouTube part here. Is that okay, or do you guys need to go?
Sure.
You want to go highlight a real golf course from or not a real one, but like a course designer's course instead of playing this one though?
Yeah, sure.
So
Let's do that.
So it seems a little easy. You
So
go like do 9 holes on something.
I'll finish up the YouTube part here. Thank you all for watching, and I hope this conversation helped you learn a little bit about how players, different players, approach the holes that we design as designers. Please keep the conversation going in the comments under this video. I will post a comment with all the stuff that you need to know to follow these other guys that were here. Wayne, Kyle, Jimmy, thanks so much for being in this video with me.
Appreciate you having us.
And we're going to continue to play some golf. And we'll continue streaming it, but now it's just regular streaming, and I can focus on my playing for a bit.
Now we can start talking a bunch of crap, right?
Yes.
Let me tell you another thing about these designers.
Well, that's one thing I probably should have mentioned too. At least I wanted to say was like the designers they're the most valuable asset we have.